Hi, welcome to the second video in this series, Money Magic, how to have money and live your dreams too. So in this video, I really want to share with you one of the most toxic aspects of our relationship with money. This will keep you from ever having enough money and ever being able to live your dream life and be financially comfortable. But before I talk about that, I really want to thank everyone for all the messages and the comments and the shares on Facebook and the tweets and all the ways in which you amazing people are sharing this information. I want to get this information to as many people as possible, and I see that it's already changing people's lives. I had one person send me a message letting me know that I really hit on something that she struggled with for a long time. And after listening to my video, she manifested an unexpected amount of money that same week. So congratulations to that person, and I'm so happy that this information was able to help you clear some of your own blocks with money. If you haven't watched the last video, then I really suggest you pause this video and check that video out. In the first video, I talk about the 3 money blocks that keep people from really improving their relationship with money and getting more money to flow into their lives. I call these blocks germs because they keep us sick and lack and believing that we just can't have enough money to do the things that we want to do. So you want to check that video out. You really want to understand those concepts before we dive into the content we dive into today. We're really going to dive deep into today's material, and I'm afraid you might be lost if you haven't seen that first video. So go check that out now. I'm Kiana Miner, host of Crazy Courage TV, and I am just really excited to talk to you about money today. People have been asking me for a long time how I've been able to afford to do the things that I've done. By 23, I bought my first house. By 28, I had a second house, a rental property. I also had my own business. My best month in business for myself, I made $26,000. And that's from going from being, a broke college kid who got kicked out because she couldn't even pay her tuition. So I've come a long way when it comes to money. And there are lots of spiritual laws that I've learned along the way, as well as strategy. So I believe you have to have both. You have to understand the spiritual essence of money, and you also have to have the strategies in place to make sure that your money is doing exactly what you want it to do. So up until now, I really haven't talked about money that much, even though it's the second most thing that people ask me about. First they ask me about courage, and then next is money, and people have always asked me about how to have the financial security to really do the things that they wanted to do in their life. This information comes from my experience. So I have to give the disclaimer that I'm not a financial planner. And I can't promise you any type of results from just watching this video. It's really about you committing to changing your own relationship about money and taking responsibility for making sure you put the beliefs and the strategies in play in your own life to change how money flows to you, to change how you relate to money on a regular basis. I really have lived on every single point of the spectrum when it comes to money. My worst month, I made $337, and that wasn't even enough to pay my credit card bill. That wasn't really enough to pay anything. And I've made $6 an hour, I've made $8 an hour. So I know what it feels like to be going to work every day and feel like you're not making enough money. Feel like things are never going to change, that your life is just unlucky, and that you were meant to struggle when it comes to money. I know what that feels like, to watch all of your friends or everyone around you go out and do things like go shopping or go out to dinner, and they invite you to come along, and you say no because you have a headache or you're tired, but you're really saying no because you can't afford to. You can't afford, you're adding up, you're calculating the amount of money it's going to cost in your head, and you can't afford to go out with them. And so you make up some excuse and you say no. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to not even really know what you're going to eat for dinner, to try to eat slowly, split up meals that really is just one meal, but to try to split it up to make it last. I know what that feels like too. I also know what it feels like to live in abundance. And I don't say this to brag. I say this to let you know I've been in a place where I've struggled. And I've been in a place where I have experienced abundance. And I believe that the information that I share with you today can get you from one place to another, or no matter where you are on the spectrum, it can get you to a greater place of abundance. So I've been in a place of abundance where none of my decisions that I made had anything to do with money. I had more than enough money, and so that I could start to dream, and I could start to think about what it is I really wanted in my life and start to go after that without thinking about where my next meal was going to come from or where money was going to come from. I've had complete financial freedom where I had more money than I knew what to do with. I once had like $15,000 just sitting in my checking account thinking, okay, what do I do with this? I've already put money in my, my long-term savings, my short-term savings. I bought everything I wanted to buy this month. What do I do with this money now? I've experienced the blessing of too much money. And I have to share something with you. I think there's a myth in our culture that somehow living in poverty is a very spiritual place to live. But I have to tell you that I just don't think that's true. I think we were all meant to experience abundance. And I think that abundance carries with it a spiritual ability that living in poverty just doesn't have. When I had more than enough money, I was able to donate to causes that I really believed in. I hired people, people who had families, people who had financial responsibilities of their own. I was able to hire people in order to give them money, to help circulate money within their own businesses. And there's nothing like having the money to be able to support the causes that you really believe in. Having the money to be able to help out a friend or a family member, even though I don't make a practice of that, and I suggest you don't either, but still having the money to be able to say to a family member, you know what, I know this is what you dream of. Let me help you get there. I think that that's one of the most spiritual experiences that someone can ever have, is serving other people. And money helps you serve more people. I'm not saying that you can't serve people without money. There's always something we can do for other people. But money helps to expand your reach. So why don't we have enough money? Why don't we have all the money we could ever dream of or want? Why don't we live in abundance? Well, I believe a lot of us have a very toxic relationship with money. It's a very dysfunctional relationship that started long before we really even truly understood what money was. Think back to your childhood. Think back to when you were growing up. What did the adults around you, the authority figures around you, tell you about money? If you lived in a poor neighborhood, you heard certain things about money that you came to believe. If you lived in a middle-class neighborhood, or even if you lived in a rich neighborhood, there were common conversations about money happening all around you that formed the foundation of your beliefs today about money. So I'm going to share some of the things that, I heard around me about money. I remember, being young and asking for like a toy and being told that there wasn't enough money for that right now. That money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work for money. That you can't just spend money on whatever you want to spend money on. And those are some of the beliefs that have formed the foundation of my relationship with money. I have stopped myself from receiving money if I thought I was receiving it too easily. And we don't do this consciously, because obviously consciously we all want as much money as we can have. Most people love to spend money and they love to have money, an abundance of money. So consciously we would never repel money, but subconsciously we self-sabotage us in ways that we don't even realize because we have these unconscious beliefs about money. So what did people tell you about money? Was money something that was never there? Listen to the ways in which we personify money as if it's a person that we actually have a relationship with. Did people tell you that money wasn't there? That there wasn't enough money? So you just came to believe that money couldn't fulfill your needs? Does it feel like money abandoned you when you needed it the most? Does it feel like money just was never there for you? Does it feel like money never supplied you with everything you needed and wanted? We have abandonment issues with money, people. We do. We personify money and we give money all of our power. We believe if only money would just be nice to us, if only money would just love us enough to take care of us, then we would be okay. But this is a myth. The grandest myth flying around in our culture about money is that money makes the world go round. And that is not true. I don't care what you see with your physical eyes. It is not money that makes the world go round. It is people. It is each one of us, each of us as individuals. What we think, what we believe, and what we do creates this world, not money. It is us who create the world. As children, when parents told us these things about money, money doesn't grow on trees, there's not enough money, we don't have money for that, we can't afford that, we started to think, well, gosh, money controls us. Money controls our lives. How much money we have or don't have controls our freedom and what we're capable of in this lifetime. Now, as children, what did we want? Dolls, candy, maybe a pair of tennis shoes, or, a new dress. So the things we were asking for probably weren't the most important things in the world, but the act of asking and being told no because of money, because of this person we couldn't see, because of this entity that we didn't really know about, taught us that money was in control. And when there was money, we could have what we wanted. But when there wasn't money, we couldn't have what we wanted. So do you understand how that could create a pretty dysfunctional relationship with money? It could cause us to resent money, like, damn it, if only it wasn't for money, I could have what I want. If only it wasn't for this thing called money, I could live the life I wanted to live. And when you resent someone, and when you're angry at someone, and when you're disappointed with someone, how good is the relationship between you? How good is the love? How good is the sex? Probably not so great. You probably end up breaking up with that type of person or dismissing that person out of your life a lot. Your relationship isn't good when it's built on a lack of trust and a lack of mutual respect. It's the same thing with money. So money doesn't control us. We need to reclaim our power back from money. We need to reteach ourselves how to relate to money in ways that brings more of it into our lives and gives us the freedom that we really desire to live our dreams and be supported financially with money. Improving your relationship with money is going to require a lot of forgiveness. It's going to require you to think back into your childhood and forgive the people in your life who taught you these myths about money, who taught you that money controls our lives and that we don't control money, who taught you that there wasn't enough, that you had to work hard for money, that you had to sweat to earn money. It's going to really require you to forgive. And not only do you have to forgive other people, you're going to have to forgive money. Because like I said, we've personified money, and our relationship with money is just hanging on by a thread. And so you have to forgive money for believing all the lies that people told you about it, for never truly understanding the nature of your relationship with money. And you have to forgive yourself, because we were children. We didn't know. We believed the authority figures around us, and they believed what they were telling us. And at the time, we were all doing the best that we could. But now we know better, so now it's time to do better. If you've never heard this before, this may sound a little weird, but think about it. How many times have you had to stretch yourself? How many times have you had to get out of your comfort zone and do something a little weird or different to get a better result? We can't stay stuck in the same place that we're in right now. We have to be willing to do something different, to do something crazy, to get a better result. So right now together, let's set the intention to release the anxiety, the resentment, the anger that we have about money. Let's set the intention to release all of the toxic emotions that we have pent up about money. And this isn't going to happen all at once. In fact, I know for me, I have specific techniques that I've practiced over the years to really get over this resentment toward money. But this video isn't nearly long enough for me to get into all of that now. So for now, I really want you to just set the intention that you're going to let it go. Let's move on, because I really want to have enough time to really dive into the strategy that you need to implement to really build the life of your dreams and have money support you. The most important thing in the world that you really need to know and understand about money is that you direct money. You're the boss. You're the leader. You're the one in charge of your financial destiny. And I'm going to remind you of some spiritual law, because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Not in the beginning was money. In the beginning was the Word. He who sees me in all things, and all things in me, is never far from me, and I am never far from him. And that's from the Bhagavad Gita. So we have wisdom from the Bible, wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita that show us that money is not the root of power. We are the root of power. Our thoughts, our beliefs, our energy, our belief in ourselves. We have all the power that we need to be all we want to be and have all that we want to have in our lives and achieve all that we were meant to accomplish. We have that power inside of us. It was built into who we are. You have it. So money doesn't have the power, you have the power. And when we reclaim our power from money, then we can do things that we can't even imagine right now. Money is not the mover and the shaker in the world. We are. We move money, not the other way around. We move money. We will money. And you can will money to do whatever you want it to do. You can will money to support you in your dreams. You know, not long ago, I was a massage therapist with a lucrative career. And, you know, something happened that made me rethink about what my dreams really were and really dig deep to figure out what it is that I wanted to accomplish in my life and achieve in my life and what my purpose in life was. And that thing that happened was that I became a mom. I gave birth to my daughter. She's an amazing, amazing child. And when I gave birth to her, I birthed a new part of me. I expanded, I evolved, and I grew. And suddenly, doing massage just didn't make me feel the way it used to make me feel. And it became clear to me that it was time for me to move away from my massage practice and into something else that was going to have a much more powerful impact on the people around me, on my clients, on the world. And also, I wanted to spend time with my daughter. Massage, it was such a physical job, and it left me feeling so tired and exhausted. And it required me to go outside of the home and really separate from my daughter. And I just didn't want to do that anymore. I started to think of ways that I could have time with my daughter and my family, freedom, and financial support, and the money to really live the way that I wanted to live. And so, you know, from the moment I had this realization, things got a little messy. There was a moment not long after I had gotten married, me and my best friend, we got married. And there was a moment when my tenant was late on her rent again. And I was left with the decision of whether I was going to hustle with massage, a job that I was slowly starting to feel like wasn't really the right fit for me, for where I was in my life, whether I was going to hustle with massage, take more time away from my daughter, and do more appointments and, you know, work on more people in order to have the money to pay my mortgage and to make up for the lack of rent I was getting from this tenant, or was I going to figure out a way to go for it? If I had to use more energy anyway, should I use it to clean up a life that I didn't even really want to live in the first place? Or should I use it to really go for it and see what I was capable of? So you know that story. I went for it because that's the basis of Crazy Courage. I went for it. And I'm not going to lie, things got a little messy. Things got a little messy after I went for it. And there were unexpected obstacles. But there was unexpected ecstasy too. There was unexpected joy. And I tapped into a level of happiness that I had never experienced before in my entire life. And so it was totally worth it. So it's not going to be easy to change your relationship with money. It's not going to be easy because, you know, you're going to have people telling you what to do and what not to do. You're going to have people weighing in on your decisions. You're going to have people calling you crazy. You're even going to doubt yourself. But if you can commit to changing your relationship with money, you can experience more joy than you ever knew was possible in this life. more freedom, more aliveness, more passion than you ever thought was possible, and more money too. You know, it's really funny because at the time you don't think that you are letting money control your life, but you are. If you're afraid to do what you really want to do because you're just afraid that money is not going to support you, then you are letting money run your life. And at the moment I decided I wasn't going to let money run my life was the moment that I stepped into my dreams in a way that I never have before. I can't lie. We still need money to eat. You know, so I'm not telling you to just quit your job and not have any idea of how you're going to eat, how you're going to support yourself. So I want to show you a strategy. We've been talking about the belief. We talked about strengthening your relationship with money. I want to show you an exact strategy that I use to have enough money to take this leap of faith and start to really build the life that I wanted to live. And so if you will implement this strategy right here where you are, you will start to build a financial cushion that will allow you to step into a better life when you feel ready. So I really want to show you the strategy. Come on in, let me give you a peek at my bank account as promised. And you can see exactly how I set up sort of the back end of my bank account in order to make sure that I have money to invest in my dreams.
Okay, so before we take a look at my bank account, I just wanted to talk about what happens to money once it flows into my life. Because when you see the bank account, this will make a little bit more sense. So when money comes into my life, where does it go? How do I direct it? How do I lead my money to make sure that it's supporting me and not only my needs, but my desires and my dreams as well? So I get money, let's say money flows into my life. The first question I ask is, what is its job? What is this money here to do? Whether it's $1, whether it's $500 or $5,000, every dollar that comes to me has a job. And the first thing I want to know is, what is its job? The next thing I may ask is, how can it support my dreams? What can it do to support my dreams? Because if you don't, similar to other relationships, you can't assume that money is going to know what you want it to do for you. You have to tell your money. You have to communicate with your money. Let it know how it can support your dreams. So what is its job and how can it support my dreams? The next thing I do is I start to create a strategy for my money. I start to tell it what its job is. Once I've asked these two basic questions, I start to direct my money and give it a job description, if you will. So the money comes into my checking account. That's the first point of contact for me, is all the money that we receive goes into our checking account. Then there are different areas that we'll direct our money to. So one of those areas is savings. This is retirement, long-term savings, short-term savings, and our dream funds. And the dream funds are for our children. We don't have college funds, we have dream funds. That way the children can do whatever they want with the money. They don't necessarily have to use it for college, and then we're not penalized if they don't use it for college. So just to give you a brief explanation of what the dream fund is. The next thing that we start to look at is guilt-free spending. This is another area, and it's not necessarily in this order, but this is another area that we'll look at. Okay, how can we direct our money to spend? Because, I mean, let's just be honest. Most of us want money so that we can spend money. And this is actually the area that I'm going to show you in my bank account today, is how do I create that guilt-free spending, whether I'm spending on my desires today, or I'm using, or I'm creating buckets and categories to spend on dreams later on. And the last category is bills. So like I said, not necessarily in this order. Actually, I think bills would go first, then savings, then guilt-free spending. But, you know, in either case, these are the three areas that our money is directed to. So, of course, bills means mortgage, rent, utilities, and insurance. So these are the three areas that I need my money to assist me in. These are the areas that I direct my money to. So let's dive more into guilt-free spending. And I'll talk about exactly how I create a system so that not only do I have spending money today, but I have money to spend on my dreams later on in life. Okay, so here it is. Here's my account information. I hope you'll understand for security reasons, I had to block out my account number as well as my available balance. But what you're looking at is the most important part of my account information, and that is the buckets or categories that I've created in order to have guilt-free spending and save for my dreams. So I have one checking account with, and this is with Capital One. It used to be ING, but it's Capital One now. I have one checking account and 10 savings accounts with this company. Now, this checking account isn't my main checking account, so I did want to make that clear. So this is a completely separate account from the account where the money initially comes into my life. So the reason I have so many savings accounts is because I have a separate bucket for all of the important areas of my life, all of the areas where I may have unexpected expenses, and then all of my dreams in life. So as you can see, I have a travel bucket. Right now, that bucket is called Atlanta for Thanksgiving because we traveled to Atlanta for the holiday. But that is my travel bucket. So I also save for travel goals. All of my travel goals I save for in this bucket. So once our trip to Atlanta is done, then it'll turn into the trip to New York. And I like to keep that specific because that way I don't touch that money. I'm reminded of exactly what the next travel plans we have, and I'm able to, not touch that money because I can think of just how much fun we're going to have when we do travel. I have a bucket for clothes. I have a bucket for car. We're actually saving for a new car right now. I don't know. That'll either be a down payment or it'll be the entire cost of the car. So we are saving for that right now. I have gifts, and that includes Christmas, so that my budget is not, my budget is not knocked out of balance by Christmas gifts. We've already planned for that, and that's set aside. Education is super, super important. This is books, audio programs, online courses, anything that my husband or I or the children want to learn more about. We have a bucket for that. Entertainment, this is one of the most fun buckets, so that when we're going out and we're having a good time on the weekend, we don't have to worry about where that money is coming from because we've already allocated it in that bucket. New business ventures, lifestyle investments, and then a cushion, which is our emergency fund. So as you can see from this, we have set up a system so that when money comes in, we give each of our dollars a job. Now, if we have 10 extra dollars left over from money that has come in, that may go into our clothing fund. Or if we get $150, like I was telling you, we get $150 of unexpected money, we'll split that up among these accounts so that we are always putting money away for the things that we desire in life. And I love this system. I mean, this system is how we saved for my son's birth. We had to pay out of pocket because I wanted to deliver with midwives. And this is how we were able to travel to Costa Rica and take time off. We used to have a bucket called Life's Next Adventure. And so I don't have that bucket right now because Life's Next Adventure is probably split between our travel bucket and our new business ventures. But that was our bucket, and so we didn't know what life was going to bring, but we would put as much money as we could into that Life's New Adventure bucket. And then anytime we thought of an adventure, we could take it because we had the funding for it. And it doesn't matter if you're putting $5 into these buckets or $25 into these buckets, but have a bucket for everything that you dream of in your life. Do you want to travel around the world? Have a travel around the world bucket. Do you want to start your own business? Have a bucket for that. Do you want to do you love eating out at all of the, 5-star restaurants across the world? Have a bucket for that. I don't know what you dream of, but whatever you dream of, have a bucket for it so that you bring it out of just your vision and into physical reality and start putting money away. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but the fact that you're putting intention and focus into putting money away for whatever it is you dream of, you will get there eventually. When we first started putting money away to travel, we didn't know where that money was going to come from. When I first created that bucket, we had just gotten married, and so we had a lot of money, that we received as gifts for our wedding. So that went in there, and I just started putting money away into that bucket, And so when we got the opportunity to kind of sell everything in our house, and when we decided that we were going to travel and live our dreams, we started selling everything. So when we sold a lot of our stuff, that went into that bucket. We got a couple of unexpected gifts from family members that went into that bucket. I had earnings from book sales and a lot of other projects I had going on went into that bucket. And sooner or later, that bucket was enough for us to take a chance. So you never know where all the money is going to come from. And that's what I want to show you in the next video, is how to start bringing unexpected money into your life so that you can fill your buckets with cash. And cash gives you the freedom to really live life on your own terms. And one of the coolest things about Capital One is that you can name these buckets. You can open, I don't think they have a limit on how many accounts you can have. At least I haven't reached it yet. You can open several accounts. You can close them when you need to. You can rename them according to whatever your goals are at the moment. And you can set up automatic, this needs to be on automatic. You can set up automatic deposits into the account. So it's really great. I'll put a link below if you're interested in starting your account and setting up these buckets. It's better than anything else you could buy on Black Friday. Don't spend all your money. Direct your money to supporting you and living your truest and highest calling in this life.
So that was a look at my strategy and my bank account. And I hope that that has set off some ahas for you and that you are ready to really at least start to make moves towards your dreams. Start to really put your money where your dreams are and manifest more brilliance into your life. Now, one question you might have as you looked at my bank account and you looked at this strategy is, okay, that sounds great, but how do I have more money to put into, my bucket? How do I get more money because I don't have any extra money right now? And so the first thing I want to do is challenge you on that belief. Are you sure you don't have extra money? Sometimes all it takes is reducing your cable bill. I mean, gosh, we watch things on Netflix and all these other things anyway. Maybe you don't need the level of cable that you currently have. Maybe there are other bills that you can cut back on. Maybe you can brown bag it to lunch twice a week, and maybe that will give you a little bit to start to add into your bucket. Look for ways you can start to add into your bucket and do it small. Usually I'm all about big, crazy changes, but I want to tell you that sometimes the small changes last longer and they give us greater momentum. So start small. $10 or $15 is all you really need to start. Just get started. I'm not sure how much you need to open the account. You might need $50 to open the account, but after that, you can just contribute what you can, $10 or $15, just to get the ball rolling. And just keep adding to it. Keep adding to it, because one day you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, shit, I might really be able to do this. So just look for ways you can start to put as much into your bucket as you can so that you can get the ball rolling. The next thing you can do is start to manifest unexpected money. Start to bring in more money. And I want to show you some games that I've played to help me manifest more money. And these games really draw on the law of attraction. And they draw on changing your alignment, changing your energy with money so that you bring more in unexpected ways. And so, I know that may sound woo-woo to you, but I've showed you the strategy, so I'm serious. I'm not just about the woo-woo, but sometimes I get offended when people even use the word woo-woo, because really it's spiritual law. And the world isn't just physical. There's a spiritual nature about the world that we can't see, but it's just as real, if not more real, than the things that we can see. So to understand the spiritual nature of money, I have some games that I want to teach you, and they are so fun. But I don't have enough time to do them now, so I'm going to have to teach them to you in the next video. So stick around for video number 3. It's going to be amazing. You're going to learn to play these games. As I was writing them down, making sure I had all the steps to the games right, I played one of them. And I didn't even give it my full attention. I didn't even give it a whole lot of energy. I just played it just to run through, make sure I had everything right that I wanted to share with you. And we manifested $150. And I'm not saying that we broke the bank with $150, but $150 is a significant amount to flow into your life in an unexpected way. And if you're on track with all of your other bills, if your financial life is pretty healthy, you can tuck all of that away into your bucket. And I mean, that's a great nest egg to start building whatever it is that you dream about. That $150 it gets the ball rolling. So, you know, I want to share these games with you. So definitely stay tuned for the next video. For now, thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know, what is that bucket? What is the first bucket that you really want to create and start saving for? Is it a dream to start your own business? Do you want to travel? What is it that you want to, what is the dream that you want your money to support in your life right now? Video number 3 will be released in a couple of days. I'm excited to share it with you, so stay tuned for video number 3. Bye.